Hey everyone, Adrian here. For the first real content video, we've got a time lapse. It was actually kind of a happy accident that I found about a few months ago. I had apparently been recording this when I believe I was streaming with some friends on Hangouts, and I totally forgot that I had actually must have been testing the recording software at the same time. So that is kind of why the quality isn't the greatest, but it works. So on that note, there's a couple things I kind of want to talk about, both regarding the process and kind of things that you think about later on. So relevant to this particular point in the video is, color picking. And that's something that I've found with more time and experience, that I don't color pick directly from a given source that much anymore. It kind of depends on whether or not the project requires a certain kind of consistency. Like with comics, for example, you do kind of need to have those characters consistent, at least where base colors are concerned, from one page to the next. So in that case, you grab one of those previous pages, strip it down to its flat layers, or you at least have a palette that's made that you can just bring up easily and go from there. But with more standalone illustrations, or like, I may grab a source and I'll pay attention to the core colors for the most part, usually any more just eyeballing them instead of just directly picking from them. Because when you think about how the final product, you'll have probably atmospheric effects, or just in general shading and lighting. And once that's all done, those colors, sure, the core of those colors will come through, but the exact origin of those colors will be often harder to identify depending on your style. So, on top of that, sometimes I don't even leave the colors. Even if I color pick, I might change some of them a little bit, because when you look at the values of them, you might have a couple that feel too close to each other. Again, this might be sorted out by later effects, but up front, sometimes you can go through it and change the values a little bit of certain colors till it feels better. And sometimes that's just kind of how it goes, is you sometimes just choose the colors and adjust them just for the right feeling, not always for exactness. So there's a time for color picking, and then there's a time for being close. Now, going to the next kind of point about that is, when you're talking like printing especially, is that, for example, when you have a certain type of project that really requires certain ones, like for example, my university that I graduated from, when we had business cards from them, for example, they had a certain Pantone swatch of a color that they wanted. And considering even computer, printer, or program, all three of those things can change the final results a little bit. So up front, if you can at least control that much, then you're better off altogether. So going from that to the next point is more about format. And For example, this design right here was done for a t-shirt competition sponsored by Nintendo. And I actually did a Legend of Zelda one alongside this Metroid one. In hindsight, I think it might actually have been better with a more flatter design, which is kind of what I'm going towards next, is you do kind of need to consider what the final product form is going to be, what kind of print media, and recognizing that some work better than others for simpler or more complex designs. Like, I wouldn't do any significant background for this because the formatting, you don't really do a whole lot of background work on t-shirts, for example. So if you had already gone through and created a whole background and then say, I want to make a t-shirt out of this, you might run yourself into some trouble, and that you might have to do some separation after the fact and cause yourself hours of work. Or the more common scenario that comes out of compositional matters is what we consider more a square peg round hole situation. And if you work in printing, you probably get this all the time, is that you'll have a file to print, and for example with this, it's designed with a square format in mind, but the client might want it on a wide print. So you may have to enlarge or shrink and crop in an unwieldy fashion, or the opposite, in case you have a long design that they want to compress into a small one. And same scenario, it's the designs need to be considered for what they may end up going to. In any case, so this time lapse is going to be over fairly soon. So something I kind of want to bring up is that you have a Gumroad available where I'll be putting up things like this available for download. The time lapse of this, I have this one in particular for the video has been sped up to 10 minutes, or the one that I provide is 20 minutes, so you can more easily kind of tell some of the process. That I will provide links below to that. This first one I will provide for free. And if you'd like to support me, you can still choose to throw a few dollars in there. Going forward on some of these, it'll be kind of a case-by-case basis, but I will in general put at least a couple dollars tag on some in the future. And as far as the next video, I already do have a plan for what that's going to be. It'll probably be more sketches, not like a final piece, but more of a sketchy process. So I will have that up next week. And for now, thank you all for watching at the end of this video and for supporting me. And I will catch you next time. See ya.